Good afternoon. Let's talk about corn. It's been kind of exciting, but unfortunately today, like a lot of the other parts of the market, it just sometimes feels like the traders and the investors take a day off, and that's really not what they're doing. But a lot of times it has a matter of fact of the markets being so volatile up until now, and there is just a general lack of volume or any good news or bad news that's going to push the market any one direction or not. So we had our USDA report. Nothing shocking came out of that. The other markets across the spectrum today are kind of quiet, so that's not surprising to see corn that way. Let's talk about some technical levels to give you a short-term map. I think that's where you want to turn after we got the big fundamental news from the USDA report, which really wasn't anything shocking. But let's talk about December corn. 348.5 is the 2-month high, and if you want to see it higher as a bull, we're going to need to breach that on the way up. We're going to have to go through that resistance, and that will give us confirmation in the short term that things look pretty good. So 348.5 December corn. I know I don't like doing a lot of numbers, but we're going to have to really look at these because this is where everybody else is going to be looking in the short term. So let's talk about moving averages. The 100-day moving average, 358. The 50-day moving average comes in around 338 and a quarter ish. So there's a decent bracket there that you can kind of keep an eye on. That's going to give us some trend line intersection support around 336. A lot of numbers, but just know that we've got some 100-day and 50-day moving averages that are kind of bracketing us in here for the short term. Then you want to keep an eye on December corn, that's the old 2-month high, and that'll give you a good feeling about what this market wants to do in the short term. Lastly, we got to talk about the dollar. It is a little stronger today, but stronger isn't really the right word because it's off of its highs, and so it still looks a little bit cheaper to us. So although it's trending a little higher, or at least trading a little bit higher, we're just above that 97 level. It's still off of that 100 level, which we were at for a while, which was kind of impeding our exports. So that is good news. I know we've got the market's kind of sharply unchanged today, as the old traders would say. We do have beast corn down a tad here, and we're higher on the day. We just didn't have any more news to kind of come out and support that price action. And this is what happens. You need to turn to the technicals when we've got all the fundamentals that are done, and kind of get a roadmap, or at least a short-term map with those technicals about taking a look about where this market's going to go in the short term. So keep those numbers in mind. Know that the dollar is getting it's been relatively weaker, so that's a good help. And we'll see what the short term brings here for the next 3 or 4 days.